One song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make a difference. You see, it's up to you.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound, the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Kicking off the final Wycombe Wanderers Show of the season with the words of Bill Turnbull as heard at Wembley Stadium on Saturday for the League One playoff final before we knew what was going to happen. The game against Sunderland, of course, finishing in a 2-0 defeat for Wycombe, missing out on promotion to the Championship for next season, a return to the second tier of English football. Coming up in the next hour, we'll be reflecting on that game. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth speaking at the post-match press conference. We'll hear from Joe Jacobson speaking on the pitch, which just about here. We'll hear from Adebayo Akinfenwa, of course, who closed the curtain on his career at the National Stadium as well. Also, we'll catch up with Bob and review the game. I sat next to him at Wembley, and we'll be looking back on the rather eventful season that we've all had as well. And as a bit of a treat, some highlights of some of our chats with the ex-players and some ex-managers as well, thanks to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association as well. Luke's with us, who you had a good day out at Wembley, didn't you?
I had a very good day out at Wembley, yeah. What an experience it was.
With your press pass?
I know, and our balcony view from Wembley as well, on Olympic Way, not Wembley Way anymore.
No.
When did that change?
I'm not sure.
No.
Need to take more notice of naming arrangements at Wembley.
I'll do that, yeah. It was an amazing experience, though. And, you know, credit to the Sunderland fans who were all around us, because I've not heard a noise that loud before in a stadium. It was quite something.
It was just noise, wasn't it?
It was just a wall of noise. I mean, at one point, I had Matt Cecil next to me, and we were talking before the game, and I couldn't hear what he was saying, because it was that loud, and he was only sort of basically right next to my ear. I still couldn't hear him.
But as well, it's sort of a real great technical feat to be able to do it as well, and to like broadcast it in such good quality, and to really sample the atmosphere of the day. Yeah,
someone earlier on said to me, it was really excellent on Saturday. Well, isn't technology amazing? I was like, yes, it is. I mean, we didn't know until we went live if it was going to work, and it did. So, there you go. Well, hey, well done, technology.
Yeah. Credit where it's due.
Well done, us.
No, it really was a fantastic broadcast. It kicked off at midday,
It did, yes.
And finished just before kick-off as well. Here are some highlights from Saturday's broadcast, if you missed it.
Right, 3 minutes after 12, Saturday afternoon. What an afternoon we have for you. We are live from Wembley Stadium. Luke, of course, goes to the opening of an envelope, as we know. Now, listen, if you're coming up from Wycombe today, first of all,
Adams Park car park is full.
Adams car park is full. First of all, what do you think of our view?
It's absolutely amazing. It's fantastic.
It is incredible.
I'm remembering sort of like the old, say, FA Cup final grandstand, where they would have a similar sort of view. I met up with the chairman of Wycombe Wanderers, Rob Couhig. Rob, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. As you guys would say, I'm buzzing.
I'm buzzing too.
This is exactly where we both plan to be, although frankly I was pushing him to agree to the automatic promotion, but I'm good with this. I'm as good as it can be.
Well, I've been joined by a couple of Wycombe fans, so do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name's Adam and I'm a Wycombe fan.
Yeah, John, Wycombe fan, first time at the new Wembley.
One lucky fan had, quite an announcement when he woke up, because he was told that he was going to be the mascot for today's game. He'll be coming out with the teams as well. So, Kian, I think it was this morning.
Wow.
See Lana's flag over on there as well, for them as well, all in our minds today.
Of course you think of those that we'd love to have as well. You know, the Robertson family will be here. John Durbin will be here. Naz, who we lost back in October, his family and boys will be here. Callum Jeffries and his dad Chris walked out with the match ball before the game against Sheffield Wednesday, when we very sadly lost Chris a couple of weeks ago. You know, they're going to be in our thoughts when the teams walk out, and you know, of course, we think of their families who have had to go through that grief and that pain. But football can be, I wouldn't say a healer, but it brings people together.
Live in Wembley, this is the League One playoff final. Here comes Wycombe Wanderers and Sunderland as well.
One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make a difference. You see, it's up to you.
One final push. It's been a great season. Vamos Wycombe! Come on, you Blues!
Some highlights there from the broadcast on Saturday. You heard Rob and Bob and Martin and Luke as well, of course, and the chat with Rob Couhig, a number of other guests as well. On the day as well, of course, game didn't quite go as we'd have liked, of course. 2-0 defeat at Wembley. We'll be chatting more with Bob to review the 90 or so minutes at Wembley as well. But as mentioned, Luke went to the post-match press conference and was among those to pose questions to Gareth after the game.
I'm gutted for the boys, but you know, I'm going to say we were beaten by the better team today. Some moments of quality. I'm not going to sit here and say we were unjustly done or anything like that. They definitely had the spoils early on, went 1-0 up. Then I thought the game was very close. Not much in the way of chances, and probably we created the best chances of the game, and there was a nervy spell for them second half, 15 minutes, but the second goal really kills it off, and that was a sucker punch we took. But as I said, I think we've played better than we did today, and unfortunately on the big occasion Sunderland were the better side, and that happens sometimes. You know, there's times this season when we've probably got away with that, but today we're going to have to take that one on the chin and regroup for next year.
Would it be a case of then one step too far, considering that Wycombe had a brilliant season so far this season?
We went one step too far a couple of years ago, believe me, with this football club. So we just keep producing. We keep upsetting the odds and upsetting the pundits. But I mean, we're a strong squad. We've got the best squad I've ever had at Wycombe Wanderers, without a shadow of a doubt. We'll build resilience from this. We'll dust ourselves off. I'm so proud that we've amassed 83 points in League One. We can do that again. I'm sure we'll be fine next year.
And with the fans as well, obviously Wycombe are making lots of noise, Sunderland making lots of noise, and considering that they weren't 82 years ago, how did you find that atmosphere?
Listen, 8 years ago somebody gave me the stat that we survived at Torquay going in the National League, and I think Sunderland finished 16th in the Premier League. So the progress this side has made has been phenomenal, and then seeing 23,000 Wycombe people turn up today is just so proud. You know, it's a new club in the Football League when you talk of history, and everyone had their clubs, but we've got this new generation coming through. The youngsters of Wycombe now are proud of their club, and I intend to keep it going that way. We'll be back here, and we'll have learned, and we'll be stronger, and we'll be more resilient. We know how to win here. Unfortunately today we just came up short.
And Alex Neil as well, just a quick word on him and how well he's done since.
Fantastic job, really fantastic job. They're a huge club, probably the biggest club outside the Premier League, and they deserve to be in the Championship.
Gareth, can I just ask, you had a lovely huddle at the end with all your staff and players. What did you say to everybody?
Just how proud I was of them, how that this is one moment in a season of fantastic moments. It's the defining moment, but also we'll be back and we'll be stronger for this, and I promise them that group will achieve if we stick together, and I firmly believe that group of people will achieve.
Gareth, we've spoken about fans that are here today, but the support back in Wycombe as well. I'm sure you've seen the photos of the buildings and the local businesses that have got behind you. That's grown over the season, and I think we've all said what an amazing season has been, having that support that's just grown throughout the year.
Honestly, it's sort of lump in the throat time when you see shops with the kits in the windows and people going light and dark blue around the town. It never happened before. It's never happened when I was a player. It lost its way a little bit. The 90s were fantastic for this club. A real proud moment when they made the Football League, and they seemed to go off the boil a little bit, and the town has always been sort of, you know, a new town in football, and football was never the big thing. It's been huge. It's been huge lately, you know, to see the kids, this new generation wearing Wycombe shirts and getting behind their team. I think we've got a good future with this football club, and I'm proud to say that, you know, the boys have produced this. The boys have given absolutely everything, every single game, and I'm a proud manager today.
Yeah, I'm sure the Kiwis as well. I don't know if you've had a chance to speak to them yet, but I'm sure they're equally as proud as well. I couldn't have
better owners. Honestly, I couldn't have better owners. You've got all your sheikhs and your billionaires. Give me Rob and Pete Coog any day, because they've just been nothing but absolute support, backing. Rob came to me at the end of the game there, just gave me a big hug. He said, I'm going home tomorrow because I've got some work to do. It has nothing to do with the result. You've done a fantastic job. Keep going and let me know if you need anything for the next season. That's all I needed to hear. He's a great guy, and I'm proud to be the Wycombe manager.
Yeah, obviously, aside from today's disappointment, it's been an amazing season with a lot of highs and some lows. Could perhaps just sum up your review of the season and maybe give me your maybe 2 highest points and your one lowest?
Yeah, today's obviously the lowest. You know, it's a day when we wanted to perform and we just missed out. I think the quality today told just in that final third. Your quality players. Sunderland spent a lot of money on some quality players, but I've got some quality as well. Just escaped them today at the last minute. That's the low point. I think high point's getting here, you know, getting into the playoffs, and you know, it's the faces of some of these boys that I see day in, day out. You know, there's not one moment. It's just these boys coming in, learning from the youngest player to the oldest player, Kim Fenway, who's called it a day today. I'm just honoured to coach and be involved with this football club and these group of lads. You know, there's a lot bigger things in the world. Like I say, I'm not one who chases cash and chases status. I'm really happy where I am, and you know, as long as people are happy with me, I'll keep doing my job and keep trying to improve this football club.
Perhaps just one follow on that. There'll be one day, sometime in the next week or month, where you report for work, and there'll be no Adebayo Akinfenwa as a work colleague. How difficult? How much will it change the DNA of Wycombe Wanderers? And how difficult will it be to fill that gap?
We're going to miss him without a doubt. We're already working on personalities and characteristics around the place to fill his boots, which on the pitch is going to be impossible to do. You know, he's a fantastic player, but more importantly, he's a fantastic non-player. He's just phenomenal around the place. It's going to be a big hole, but Bale, I'm sure, will be popping in now and again if he's not flying around the globe somewhere doing his stuff. But we're really proud to have been the club that Akinfenwa called home. That's really a proud moment for me.
On the BBC website, Gareth said that your boots are made for lizard skin. Correct?
I think it's snake, so they got it wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there may be a replica print on there. So the actual snakeskin ones are at home. I don't think they make real snakeskins anymore. So got to be careful what I wear. Cheers.
So just to clarify,
they're a snakeskin print. Yeah. Listen, I am that rock and roll guy. I am somebody different, and I'll fly the flag for everyone who's just that little bit different, who feels like they don't fit sometimes. Get out there and just be yourself. That's really important. That's what we've done this year. That's what gets us so much success. And thanks for everyone for your kind words. You know, I don't often get criticised, and appreciate that.
Wycombe Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth speaking after the League One playoff final. Phil caught up with captain Joe Jacobson on the pitch afterwards. It was quite noisy, but some great words from him.
Look, I don't think we deserve to win today. I think Sunderland were a better team. They took their chances when they got them. They caused us problems all game, and we started off a little bit slow today, which is a little bit unlike us. But look, I'm immensely proud of what we've done this season, from all the players, from the young lads to players who took 40 a few weeks ago. And look, as a club, we've had setbacks before, but we bounced back really well from them over the years, and we're going to have to use this to kind of fuel what we want to do next season.
That was the message from the gaffer of the final whistle, is that watch this, think this in and come back stronger?
Yeah, it has to be. Look, it's not nice. You want to take it in. You want to, you know, we all, no one was made to go and watch their celebration. We all stood there. We all respect them as a football club and as players, and look, we just got into battle with them. So we wanted to kind of applaud them lifting the trophy. That's what we're here to do. It's a game of football, and look, they beat us today. So you want to take that in. You want to realise the hurt that comes with it, the disappointment. You know, you've got your family there. You really wanted to go and celebrate tonight with them, but we can look back on the whole, as a whole season, quite level-headed to realise, you know, we have succeeded. We've got to the playoffs. We're competing against some of the biggest clubs in the country, not just in the Premier League or Championship, but some of the biggest clubs there is, and we've got to be proud of what we've done, and now hopefully we can use this to motivate us to go again next season.
Losing the playoff final, it eats into the season break for you as well. Pre-season will come round soon enough as well. Is that something now to get over?
Yeah, look, we as players, we know the situation. We've got time off. The guys behind the scenes will kind of give us a program, whatever it is. We haven't even discussed it at the minute to kind of get us in shape for next season. But we're professionals. We know what we've got to do. This will hurt for a little bit, but as soon as the season kind of the fixtures come out and things like that, the realisation of where we're going to be playing next season hits us, then you just have to get on with it. I remember 7-8 years ago when we lost in the playoff final, I think we were top of the league after 10 games the following season. So, we can bounce back really well. We've not got anyone who kind of lets these things sink in. The gaffer won't let that happen. He won't let it stew over and be a hangover for us. And he'll want to, make sure that, we've had a great season. We can pick on next year.
And finally, it's a big stage here. The Wycombe fans came out en masse as well. Whatever happened today, it was always going to be a great day for the club. 23,500 Wycombe Wanderers fans made the trip here today and played their part too.
Oh, they're incredible. The home game against Sheffield Wednesday against Plymouth towards the end of the season, what occasions they were. To then go the MK Dons game at home in the playoffs is probably the best atmosphere I've ever been experienced at Hampden Park. To go away to MK Dons and now sing them, now noise them, if that's even saying, and to come 23,000, whatever it was today, is incredible. The support they've shown us this season has been amazing. They're not a group of fans who get on our backs ever, they're always there supporting us. And today, it's upsetting for us players that we couldn't go and celebrate with them after this game. We've all dreamt of it, we've all envisaged lifting the trophy with our fans behind us, and today we unfortunately to be, but we're hoping that we can show them enough this season that they want to come back and support us next season. Hopefully we'll have another successful year.
And the unity of the squad, that's what this has all been built on. Win together, win, draw and lose. What happens now, the method in the squad, then will be dealing with this together, I guess, and planning that first pre-season.
Yeah, look, nothing you see or things that we do is fabricated. The huddle at the end wasn't planned. It wasn't anyone going, "Oh, this is going to look good." This is just what we do. We do a lot of stuff in the dressing room, behind the scenes, things that create togetherness. And a lot of managers and a lot of teams and clubs, get a new manager or a new coach and say the culture's changed within 3 months. It doesn't. It takes years and years and years to build that culture. And we've got it at Wycombe Wanderers, and that's why they're very careful with players they sign, good characters, and everyone who kind of joins adds to that and brings their own personalities, and everyone's accepted. And as a group, we will deal with this well. We've got the gaffer in there saying how proud he is of us. No disappointment whatsoever from the players. We've all said individual things to each other, and look, we still want to celebrate having a successful season. It's going to be hard. It's not going to feel nice tonight, but when we look back on it, whether that's in a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, whatever it is, we can put our hands on the heart, say we gave it everything and just wasn't meant to be.
Wycombe Wanderers captain Joe Jacobson speaking to Phil. Don't forget you can hear more of that interview, if you can hear it at all, on Wanderers TV. And Phil also caught up with Adebayo Akinfenwa, who of course came on towards the end of the game in what was his last, not only appearance for Wycombe Wanderers, but last in football, professional football as well.
I ain't really got too much words. I didn't think it would end like this. I wholeheartedly, in my heart's of heart, thought we was going to win. And it's disappointing because, to be fair, Sunderland were the better team on the day. And listen, as football, I've been in the game long enough to know that. But listen, after all this, I will sit back and listen, I'm proud of the boys. I'm so proud of the boys. I love this club. And listen, as long as they've got Gaffer at their own Dobbo, they'll be all right. We'll come back stronger. And I'll say we because I'm still part of it, even though I'm not playing for them no more. So it's not ended the way I wanted to end it, but I'm proud of the boys.
Wycombe Wanderers fans here, 23,500 of them, and you got to say goodbye to them today at the home of football. You said it yourself, Hackney marches to Wembley. Describe that emotion with you and the fans. You've just come and had a chat with nearly all of them already, I think.
It was emotional. I'm an emotional brother, but not emotional where I say to tears. And I choked up. They came out. The Wycombe fans came out today. They showed out. They was with us all the way. And not being able just to get over the line for them, it's disappointing, but I just wanted to say thank you. I walked out and I said thank you to them because they took me into their hearts, took me into this club. We've had success. Unfortunately, it ended the way it ended, but I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final Wycombe Wanderers show of the season. Coming up, we'll hear from a number of ex-players that we've spoken to in the last few months. We'll look at which current players are set to be staying at Adams Park and which are leaving at the end of their contracts. But first, as mentioned, Bob, who very kindly hosted the show for us last week, been catching up with him, just reviewing not only what happened at Wembley on Saturday, but also a bit of a review of some of the highlights of the season, how the season's gone overall, some positives, and how that will affect what's to come in League One next season. And as you can imagine, some really interesting stuff in our chat with Bob, as I say, first of all starting with events at Wembley Stadium on Saturday.
It was, well, looking back on it now, slightly disappointing, I suppose. I know that's probably a slightly ironic thing to say, slightly disappointing. But when you just think about actually the first half, and yes, Sunderland, they were much better than us. They came out and looked less nervous, I suppose. There were a few really nervy minutes in the right at the beginning where you just thought, oh, goodness me, what are we doing? And then we did seem to calm down before they then scored their goal. Luckily, in the second half, I thought we were a lot better. We were particularly much, much better than when Bayo came on. Sunderland weren't anything amazing at all. I don't want people to listen to this and think that Sunderland were world beaters or anything like that, because they clearly, they weren't at all. But really, what it came down to, I thought, was a case of that they took their two chances. We had two chances, and we weren't able to take either of them. Obviously, Sam Vokes had a really, really good chance, and the goalkeeper was luckily in the right place. And then we had Brandon Hanlon with his shot, which was just too weak and almost looked more like a pass back than a shot.
Did it feel like a couple of the goals were a bit soft, maybe? I know it's easy for us to say because we...
Yeah, definitely. I will be completely honest with you, Colin. I still haven't watched it back because I haven't... that would be too agonising. From where we were sat at Wembley, it did look like the David Stockdale shot took a deflection, although I have since heard from several other people that no, it didn't really. So that was a little bit disappointing. And the second goal... certainly, it was a shot with precision, but it certainly didn't look like it had very much power on it. And so, yes, they weren't amazing goals to win a playoff game that you're going to see sort of on the Sky Sports goal reel, in several years to come.
I think the team as a whole, they did themselves, fairly proud and represented themselves well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. As Gareth has said, so let's be fair, Sunderland were the better team, but actually the second half performance from Wycombe was much, much improved. As I say, when Bayo came on, I thought we were really good. The combination of Bayo and Brandon Hanlon, there was certainly, and certainly in, say, the 10 minutes before Sunderland did score that second goal, I certainly started to feel that actually that we had them rattled and that they really weren't enjoying it, and that they were beginning to fear the fact that, that we could well equalise and take the tie into extra time. So, yeah, certainly, not all bad at all. And again, I think we very much have to think of that game in the context of the whole season, and just what a remarkable achievement to actually manage to get to Wembley, to be playing a side like Sunderland, to be getting to a League One playoff final when previously getting to a League Two playoff final was considered amazing. So we have to be very, very positive as well. Disappointing on the day, but that's the thing about a playoff final. They're either absolutely brilliant or they're absolutely brutal, because it comes down to a 90-minute game, and a 90-minute game compared to a 46-game season, absolutely anything can happen.
Of course, we had Jack Grimmer on the show recently, and he was saying exactly that, in that it seems so unfair in a way that you're kind of judged on that one game at the end.
Sure, exactly. I mean, that's football, and you could argue that about so many tournaments. Goodness me, you think of the Europa League final on last Wednesday night, being decided by a penalty shootout, and you think, well, goodness me, teams have flown all the way to Kazakhstan, they've played, all across Europe, and then the actual winner is decided on penalty kicks. That seems a little harsh. And it's exactly the same with the playoffs. But that's why they're brilliant, and that's why they're awful at the same time, is that actually for those teams that don't go up automatically, you are reducing the season down to just a 90-minute game. But that's why we love them. And if you win, as we did 2 years ago, it's the absolute best feeling in the world. And if you lose, well, goodness me, I know that we only had to go back to the short distance to High Wycombe, but it did seem to take an incredible long time to get home.
Yeah, I think a lot of people experience that on the trains as well.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I think there's still a few people in that queue at Wembley Stadium station.
No, definitely. But I remember speaking to Gareth even pre-season at the Leicester pre-season friendly. Well, actually, there he said after 4 or 5 games, asked me then. But his sort of target, if you like, was to be in the top 6 at the end of the season, which is certainly something that was achieved. And when you consider in January, top of the table, there was a bit of a blip, obviously that 7-game run without a win, but to the way they finished the season with those 12 games unbeaten was fantastic.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and every team's going to have a blip, and Gareth said that as well. And it's how you then recover from that blip. And we did it in absolute style. That yes, okay, there was a while where it looked like we couldn't win a game for love or money. But after that, then actually, we went on this long unbeaten run, which ensured that we did get into the playoffs. And so, yeah, I think you have to look at the season as being a success, and also look at the points total as well, because in any other season that actually would have been, a team with that amount of points would have been possibly looking at automatic promotion. We happen to be in a very unusual League One, really, in that a lot of teams were winning a lot of games, but similarly at the bottom, there were a lot of teams that really weren't winning at all. And so that's why so many of us ended up with 80 plus points. And goodness me, look at poor Plymouth. I think you could probably describe them as, the fact that they got 80 and didn't actually get in says it all, really.
I was going to say 80. I did read somewhere that it's a record for Wycombe at this level, but it's a fantastic tally.
Yeah, it really, really is. And, let's look back on the whole season and just think, well, wow, we did actually compete in League One. There was no hangover from last season. There was no relegation hangover. It was a really, really impressive season, competing in a division which is getting tougher and tougher. They often say that the Championship is like a mini Premier League. But goodness me, this season League One with your Sunderlands and your Portsmouths and your Ipswich and your Charltons, that it is becoming a mini Premiership as well.
And you really did feel towards the end of the season how momentum was building and just the sort of specialness of it all. We have those 2 celebration games for Bayo and for Matt Bloomfield, of course, as well. Of course, the fantastic MK Dons home leg of the playoff as well. So many kind of special times and people coming to back the club at Adams Park.
Yes, I mean, it's been really, really impressive, hasn't it? The last couple of games, the Plymouth game, the Sheffield Wednesday game, and then the MK Dons home game. It's been brilliant to see Adams Park so full. And I really, really hope that some of those people who don't normally go but did go to those games, and particular some of those people who went to the game at Wembley, do start coming regularly, because it will be absolutely brilliant to see Adams Park full on a regular basis. The atmosphere that was created by the guys from Spain, well, we really, really enjoyed that. But just the atmosphere, actually, when we didn't have the Spanish guys against MK, was absolutely brilliant.
And have there been any moments or games or goals that have stood out for you that you've been to, especially this season, whether home or away?
I think really I'm going to be probably slightly predictable and actually go for the away leg at Milton Keynes, just because it was so satisfying. Admittedly, we didn't win the game. We obviously lost that game 1-0, but went through 2-1 on aggregate. But for everything that sort of had surrounded it, and all of the MK seeking a sporting advantage by doing some very, very strange things, that all felt very, very alien, I think, to us as Wycombe Wanderers fans. Yes, I know that actually during those 90 minutes, and as David Stockdale alluded to on the Wycombe Wanderers show last week when I asked him about VAR, and he said with a grin on his face, well, the good thing about VAR is that it doesn't check time wasting. Yes, within the 90 minutes of a game, there are certain things that Wycombe do maybe to ensure that they get a sporting advantage, but I have never ever known our club to try and gain a sporting advantage in any other way other than actually what happens on the pitch. And so the fact that MK actually did those strange things, such as putting us all in the upper tier and having nobody on the lower tier, that really, really, I thought was pretty off. And so the fact that we managed to win that game, and let's not forget as well that this was an MK Dons side that had beaten Plymouth 5-0 in their final game. They just missed out on automatic promotion. And I think if we're all honest, I don't think that many of us really expected that we would manage to get past them in the playoff semi-final, particularly considering that we'd already lost 3 times to them this season. And so the fact that we did that I think is definitely the most satisfying moment of the season.
And you mentioned how tight it's been at the top, especially towards the end of the season, how competitive it is. And you look at the teams coming down next season, Peterborough, Derby and Barnsley, it'll be even more competitive, I imagine.
Oh, I think it will be very, very competitive. And also, I think, extremely feisty. I think we are probably going to see more police horses down Hill Bottom Road than maybe we've seen for quite some seasons. When you consider that, obviously, there will be a grudge against Peterborough, I would imagine. There's clearly going to be a grudge between us and Derby now, although I think that's probably going to more come from Derby than it is from us. We'll have MK as well. We'll have Oxford. Obviously, Bristol Rovers have come up. I think there'll be a few interesting games next season to come in League One.
And it'll be interesting as well to see personnel-wise who's still at the club and who may arrive.
Yes, that's very true as well. Clearly, we are going to have to find I wouldn't say a replacement for Bayo, because I think really what he brings to the side is so unique. But we're obviously going to have to find a way of playing without Bayo. And again, it was so interesting on Saturday. I felt that he changed that game in a way that actually I haven't seen him do for quite a while. But he just did. He just brought something so different. The fact that suddenly he was able to hold that ball up and then give it to Brandon Hanlon, give it to Gareth McCleary, give it to Sam Vokes. Suddenly we looked so much more dangerous, and we really are, I think, going to miss him at times next season. But hopefully, and if anyone can come up with a different way of playing and a different plan, it will be Gareth Ainsworth. I'm sure he's already working on that.
And something else which has really stood out this season has been the development of the youngsters, and I'm really exciting to see what they can do next season as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one name that straight away leaps to mind is Chris Farino. Just such an amazing story about the fact that he came along for a trial game, really just to make up the numbers, and got spotted from there, and then has actually been one of the important parts of our defence this season. Granted, he hasn't played every game, but when there have been injuries to either Anthony Stewart or Ryan Tafazoli, he's really stepped up. I think he's been absolutely immense, and really look forward to seeing what he can do next season.
And I must say as well, a very big thank you to you for your contribution to the show this season as well. It's been fantastic. Hopefully you'll get your dog lead patent idea through.
Yes, I saw Missy in the shop actually before the playoff final, and I forgot to mention remind her about the idea for the 4 different dog leads. But we've had a fantastic time. It was just a shame. I know we've talked about Hollywood endings quite a lot recently with regards to Bayo, and I think I even mentioned it to David Stockdale as well. But actually, for the Wycombe Wanderers show, it would have been so lovely, because actually it was a game that we were both, we were sat next to each other, which doesn't normally happen, because obviously on a Saturday afternoon, you are normally reading out or getting ready to read out the football results, and then normally on a Tuesday night, you are presenting on Wycombe Sound. So you and I don't actually go to the games together, and so the fact that we were both able to be there, sitting next to each other on Saturday afternoon was truly wonderful, and it would have been a lovely end, wouldn't it, to the season, to have seen Wycombe pick up that rather large trophy.
So as well, I think our predictions haven't been brilliant, have they, for the season in terms of league positions in previous campaigns. But do you sort of foresee Wycombe doing something a bit similar next season in terms of a top 6 push?
I really do. Yes, I think that the Kuhig family will ensure that actually, that there is more investment in the side. They clearly really want us to be a championship club. I think, it's absolutely brilliant what Gareth has come out and said in the last couple of days, that, he's really very obviously not looking to go anywhere. He is completely happy where he is. That is, absolute music, I would think, to all Chairboys fans' ears. We are so much the identity of the club and Gareth is so intertwined that I think we would be. It would take a long time to actually rebuild Wycombe Wanderers if Gareth Ainsworth was to leave. So the fact that he wants to stay for another season, I think, is absolutely wonderful. And yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that we will be once again pushing for automatic promotion. I'm not sure whether I'm going to quite predict that actually that's what we'll get, but I would certainly be hoping for a top 6 finish again next season.
The thoughts of Bob are really great to get his input, and again, a big thanks for his contribution this season, not to mention his contribution last week. He did the show. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show this evening, we'll be getting more people to thank, and we'll be hearing a selection of our interviews of Wycombe Wanderers ex-players.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the final Wycombe Wanderers Show of the season. Still to come, we'll look at some of the players who are staying and bring you an update on some that are leaving as well. We've got a sort of a list of thank yous, really, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. A list of thank you very muches.
It's like the credits at the end. It's worth staying on to the end.
Yeah, it's an audible credit, except there won't be like an after scene like on Marvel. Bob's not going to turn up and, like, I don't know, catch somebody as they're falling from the sky.
There should be some sort of surprise at the end, shouldn't there?
Yeah, they should. I'll work on it. We've got 20 minutes.
That'll be like some people have crazy credits, don't they, where it turns out to be like recipes for cookie dough or something.
What films have you been watching?
Can't remember what that was in. But first, if you've been listening through... don't know where that came from. Throughout the season, one of the real highlights has been our chats with Wycombe Wanderers ex-players, with a big thank you, of course, to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association. If you listened to our Christmas special, we had a bit of a roundup of those that featured up until Christmas. But here's a selection of some of the best of 2022.
I felt very sort of proud that you could be involved in have all the local people in the local football and people just come off parks and playing local, good standards, but local football like Hellenic leagues and this and that, and then to step up to going into that, versus some really good sides at the time. You sort of look back and you think, it must have something, to sort of hang on and do the amount of time that we did, The first part was quite traumatic, but the second part, winning the league, was just... we just won. So I think we got 101 points, and I think we scored 103 goals. And it was fantastic. It really was one of the... not forgetting playing, but in management, that's one of the best things I ever had.
We had some class players at Wycombe. Really classy team, and well worth being there actually and playing with them. They really helped you. Brought me along. A lot of the older type players. They were really great. A lot of the players, Jackie Tomley, Cliff Trott and Jimmy Truitt, for example, and Jimmy Mooring, they were really good.
We suffered a little bit while I was there as well, but when I look back, and like I say, I can only stress out how much I enjoyed playing there. And football can take you on these roller coaster journeys at times, and it's maybe only really afterwards, if most ex-players are honest with themselves, it's only afterwards that when you reflect a little bit and you look back and you go, do you know what? What a great club that was. Not that I didn't appreciate it at the time, but it's only after, when you flick through your career and you go, God, I really enjoyed my time there.
I remember Martin keeping the boys in the dressing room a wee bit longer than the FA wanted them, so that Kidderminster were in the tunnel under pressure. And, I'm not sure if it actually helps any, but it certainly made them a wee bit more nervous. And I remember those kind of things. Martin said, stay here, let them wait. Great days. You never, certainly I didn't, never thought I would see those kind of days. And yet, here you are, you've been lucky enough to be part of, as I say, a unique set of people led by a very unique manager 3 times. And won 3 times. So the team won 3 times. So in that regard, they don't get more special than that.
Grimsby away. It was probably... would have been softer playing on a car park. The pitch was frozen, the ball was frozen, and I hadn't really played with Andy Rammell much up until then. We kind of kept missing each other either through injury or whatever. We hadn't really had a consistent amount of games together, but that game was probably the first game I found that I started to read his game and I started to play off of him a little bit better, and we started to work as a pair rather than 2 people just working hard to try and make something happen. It actually started to feel as though we had a little bit of a sort of partnership.
Younger fans as well would have seen what it was like to play on that pitch, and you had to play a certain way. If you was at the top of the hill, I was playing fullback, when you were playing balls in from the top, you'd sort of play them in, they'd curl them in, and they would sort of go into the players' path at the bottom. You had to drive it up, and you'd see opposing goalkeepers that would come and keeper, whoops, and drop it or misjudge the flight. So I think playing at the old ground was a good experience. We had good crowds come in, we had good support, especially a midweek game. The atmosphere there was terrific.
That Martin era has always been remembered, and a lot of them players, 4, 5, 6 of them players stayed on for a number of years after that. When you think of Cousins and Carroll and Ryan, a lot of players from winning the conference went up a couple of divisions as well. So it was a really special group of players. Great to be at the club for 2.5, 3 years at that time, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I say, made some really good friends.
I mean, I played golf with Vinnie Faulkner and Keith Samuels, two gentlemen. I really respect those two men. But I also play with Les Merrick, Colin Bunting and Martin Priestley. Now, Les and Colin played in the era before me, but you talk to them about their era, and their teams all got on. Our team all got on. The teams after that, and I think this is carrying through into the present-day team. Gareth Ainsworth has got them working as a team. If you love one another in a team, and you get on with one another in a team, you're going to run your best, you're going to work your best, you're going to do your best for your mate.
My mum and my dad, they raised me up very, very, very well, to be very respectful for others, and for me, that just played out into the way that I am around people around the ground, and I wanted to be part of something. And at Wycombe, for me, even when I go back to Wycombe now, it's not changed that family nature, that they're not a team that are abusive to their own players or booing here. Everything is, my pint is half full, not half empty, and it's just so great to see that is still embedded in the Wycombe philosophy as a football club, how to run a football club. It's family orientated. Everyone's out there for a great day, win, lose or draw. And that, for me, is why I love Wycombe Wanderers and why I miss it incredibly, especially when I've been to so many other clubs and I always talk highly of Wycombe.
Nathan Tyson rounding off our highlights of players and ex-managers as well, and I'm sure you can pick out your favourite and identify. It's like Guess Who of Wycombe Wanderers ex-players. Must say a big thank you to producer Luke for helping put that together.
Oh, that's all right.
Thank you very much.
It's very nice to listen to all the players.
Really nice. It was a privilege, and I'm really pleased to be able to chat to so many of them. If that sort of whet your appetite and you'd like to hear more from them, there is you can explore previous episodes of the show on the podcast version. You can also listen on YouTube.
You can, yeah. We had loads over the last couple of weeks. Thank you to anyone that found it. I'm guessing it might have been Sunderland fans that were just typing Wycombe Wanderers into YouTube.
Also on the radio player page, Wycombe Sound's radio player page. The last 4 weeks are on the Listen Again feature on the website, wycombesound.org.uk. We've got a lot more thank yous to come, as we mentioned before the end of the show as well. We were talking with Bob briefly about the new season. You might have heard the club have announced contract extensions for Darryl Horgan, TJ DeBar, Tyler Dickinson and Connor Parsons, with the club choosing to activate a trigger in their deals to keep them at Adams Park. A number of players have had offers for new contracts as well. They include Captain Joe Jacobson, Dominic Gape, Anthony Stewart, Lewis Wing and David Stockdale. I'm sure you heard before the final that Sam Vokes and the club triggered an extension to his contract, and he's going to be at the club for the 2022-23 season. Adebayo Akinfenwa, as we've mentioned, is retiring from playing football and therefore leaves the club after 6 incredible years in which he became the all-time leading goal scorer in its EFL era. Matt Bloomfield, of course, announced his retirement from playing football in February, calling time on a remarkable 19-year career with the Chairboys, becoming 4th highest appearance maker in the club's history as well. The list of clubs, list of players who aren't having their contracts renewed are Jean-Baptiste Fischer, Adam Prisbeck, Ollie Pendlebury, Andre Burley, Malachi Linton and Max Ram as well. They're leaving this summer after their contracts have expired as well. It's been a fantastic season. It seems like we were just saying, it seems like such a long time ago that you and I were both stood
in the cold.
The Leicester pre-season game, which really kind of what kick-started, because we did that fantastic show which built up to that game. You did Drive Time from Adams Park.
Yeah, the first one that all started the car park shows, which were brilliant. We, of course, spoke to Sam Vokes on that evening as well. You were the first person, I think, to talk to Sam in the media, which was really good. And we spoke then about how Sam, from that game, sort of, he seemed like he got the Wycombe bug. He knew what he had to do and how much it was part of the team. So I think everyone was very excited that Sam was staying on for another year as well. And I think, Joe Jacobson, Dominic Gabe, Anthony Stewart, Lewis Wing and David Stockdale, you can all imagine will be there next season as well with a new contract.
Absolutely. And Sam, as I had stated when he was chatting to us, that he wanted to come to Wycombe. Wycombe was the club that he wanted to come to as well and would feel at home at.
Yeah, and I think the changes they've made up on Marlow Road to the training area have helped get these new players in. I think was it TJ DeBar who said that he had a choice of two places to go, and it was because of the training area up at Marlow Road that he wanted to come to Wycombe.
No, definitely. And as we touched on, we did commentary, of course, on the pre-season game. Which was
didn't. They didn't let us do that.
No, I must say a big thank you to our commentator for the day.
Yes, Henry, well done. Thank you very much.
And that's what really kick-started the pre-match day Saturday shows as well.
Yeah, it was an idea that we had to do it for that one. And then me and Rob afterwards were talking about it, going, oh, this was brilliant, wasn't it? We should do this more often, do it throughout the season. And then I don't know what day that was on. So the beginning of next week, Matt phoned me from the club and went, we've got an idea. Would you fancy doing the Rob show from the Adams Park car park before every game? And I said, well, funny you should mention that, Matt, because we were having, the exact same idea. So it's been great to be doing those, and obviously having the players doing adverts as well. Of course, David Stockdale's has gone down in history as being very funny and just brilliant. So that was really good to record those. So hopefully we can do more of that next season as well.
And really coincides, obviously, with fans coming back after the pandemic, but also the experience at Adams Park, really sort of pre and post match, really building, and you've experienced the burgers and the live music, and the real kind of being part of that show as well is a real kind of really kind of way of building up the atmosphere.
Yeah, Rob said at the beginning of the season they didn't really know what they had a plan, but because of COVID they didn't know how much they could start it as they went through the season. So it has built over the season, and those last three games when we had over 8,000 fans at Adams Park, it was just great to see so many families coming down and sharing lots of entertainment beforehand, getting burgers from the Hellfire barbecue. Thank you, Will, for all of your wonderful food this season, because it has been amazing to hear about him earlier in the season. Out like his day was starting at 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's been really, really good to seeing it build, and hopefully, as Bob said earlier on, that will continue into the new season.
I especially enjoyed the Matt Bloomfield burger.
Yeah, they were good. I want to do more. I think we should have more player burgers next season, not just ones that are leaving, just random ones every week.
A Gareth burger would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we should do a Gareth Ainsworth burger. That should be the first one of the series, of the season even.
When you say we,
yeah, not us, Will. Off you go.
That would be ideal. But yeah, that was those games, especially the Akinfenwa and Bloomfield sort of celebration games, which were fantastic, obviously. And then the last few home games of the season as well. And we had the home leg of the playoff as well. A really brilliant atmosphere is being generated at Adams Park.
Yeah, those. I was talking to Punk Andy actually earlier on in the week, saying that those Bloomfield and Bayo games were really, really special, and I think it was nice, especially for Matt, who's been there for 19 years. It was just incredible for the whole of the town. It felt like was sort of saying thank you to Matt for even those fans that possibly weren't going to the games as much then, but did previously, to just sort of thank him for his career at the club. It was really nice.
So what can we look forward to in the new season? You've got some key dates there for us, for our diaries.
I do indeed. They include the one that I suppose everyone can get their calendars ready for, is the fixture release day on Thursday the 23rd of June, so under a month now. It'll be very interesting to see if we've got our first home game of the season. Will it be the first game or the week after? What do you think? Early predictions?
Oh, I'd like to start the season at home.
Okay then. The season officially...
It's not up to me, unfortunately.
No, it's not, but we'll start with the home one. The season starts on the 30th of July. The final day is Saturday the 6th of May. And the key dates that I'm sure Rob Kuhig is already looking at, League One playoff final, Sunday the 28th of May, although I'm sure he wants automatic promotions.
No, absolutely. And in terms of Wycombe Sound, obviously, more shows on a match day on a Saturday, more from the Wycombe Wanderers Show, hopefully.
Yes, you can have another season. But yes, hopefully, lots more to come, shall we say.
Ooh. Cool.
That's all I shall say for now. But yeah, lots of things are getting ready for a new season. Obviously, the club on a well-deserved holiday for some of the staff. So look forward to talking to them when they get back. But we have plans.
Oh, excellent. It's been really great to do the show, obviously, and it seems like such a long time ago, wasn't it, that we started, and there have been so many highlights, I think, some sort of different guests that we've had, and occasions and matches that we've covered.
Yeah, and that Leicester game we spoke about was really, really good. Obviously you spoke to Rob, Pete, and Lisa at it was a thank you event at the beginning of the season.
That feels like a long time ago.
Did I say it was August or something? Yeah, so that was
the
really,
official
really
launch
good.
of the season at Adams Park. Really.
Yeah, and that was nice. That was nice to hear. And Lisa we've spoken to a few times throughout the year, and many of the volunteers that work tirelessly at Adams Park to keep it nice and tidy and keep it ready for match days. And they've all been brilliant, and so welcoming to us as well as the whole club have been.
I think that's what's nice, because we've been able to, without sounding too corny, sort of shine a light on some of the behind the scenes stuff and really sort of focus on unsung heroes as well, and find out what goes into sort of maintaining the club and the ethos really that they stand for. Yeah, and the club have done the same as well with Wanderers TV, which has been brilliant as well. To just for those fans that may just come on a Saturday afternoon and don't possibly follow them on social media and see things like that, I think it has been really good to shine the light, as you said, on those staff members that you may not necessarily hear, like for example Ben Griffins, who heads up the ticketing team, who's had COVID over the build up to the Wembley game and was working from home. So there's many people like that at Adams Park that work behind the scenes and don't necessarily hear from. And also that we've been able to bring you club news has been fantastic. News from the Trust. Obviously, we chatted to Matt about the fact that programmes came to an end. Printed programmes came to an end this season as well. Yeah, that was big news. An end of an era, I think Matt called it. And then the launch of Wanderers TV as well, which as I said, has been great. So it's been the end of an era for some people, beginning of a new era for other things. No, absolutely. So this is the credit bit of the show now. Would you like me to read out the long list? We've got many people to thank. Obviously, we've already thanked Bob for his contribution to the show. A big thank you to you as well for your thank you to you as well. Producing elements and lots of keeping it on air basically. Yeah, well, that's what I tend to do. But other than us, a big thank you to the Coohigs, Rob, Pete, and Missy, and the whole family as well for letting Bob go to their home out in America and talk to Rob there, but just for being brilliant throughout the season. Rob and Pete and Missy have always come over and said hello to us on a Saturday, so a big thank you to them. Of course, thank you to Gareth Ainsworth, talking to us weekly at the press sessions and just being awesome, and hopefully not me going up to him and annoying him every time I see him. And again, a huge thank you to Matt and Phil from the club, or now part of the club as Phil is, for just being brilliant with content and inviting us to events that the club are doing, and special opportunities to talk to the player. They have, as I said on Saturday at Wembley, just giving us really good access to the club, so a big thank you to them. Thank you to the Trust as well for helping us on a Saturday afternoon with interviews. Wycombe Wanderers Women, Dave Ward, and hopefully more from Carl Simon as well next season. And then of course the Ex-Players Association, JDT and Alan Hutchinson, have been brilliant, haven't they, Colin? No, absolutely, a real integral part of the show. We've been really pleased to be able to do the last two seasons and speak to a real cross-section of players, ex-players and former managers, and even a couple of sort of journalists as well, and great to chat to Alan and JDT themselves as well, to get a real kind of insight and speak to players who have represented the club even just played in the reserves, or they might have played in their 50s, they might have played in the 90s, and under so many different managers, and been involved in so many different eras of the club and tasted success, and obviously, as you heard in some of those clips there, paint a real great picture of what a family club is, and what a brilliant sort of character and ethos is sort of continued on through. Yeah, definitely, and that links very nicely to say thank you to the players, both current and ex, that have been on and shared their thoughts on the club, both back then and now. We mentioned Henry earlier on for doing the who was on twice. He did the Leicester game, and we spoke to him before the Portsmouth game as well. The other staff that we mentioned earlier on, and you for listening, and the fans who have given us comments on the Gas Room forums, on social media, have been part of the show with comments and memories of the club. We wouldn't be able to do it without you, so a big thank you to everyone that has been part of the show over the last 44 shows, 45 I think, something like that. Oh, it's been good. That's not a bad amount at all. No, it's quite sad in a way, isn't it? The season's coming to a close. That's right, it's only 6 weeks. Again, thank you so much, Nate, for listening. Hope you've really enjoyed the interviews and the kind of the structure of the show. Do let us know if you have any thoughts on, perhaps extra bits that you'd like in future episodes and series as well. Perhaps you'd like a different presenter. I don't know. And don't forget as well, you can listen to previous episodes as a podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcasts from. You can listen on the YouTube as well, on the YouTube.
That's what they call it.
They do call it that. And on the Wycombe Sound Radio Player page as well. Have a fantastic summer, and we look forward to another series of the Wycombe Wanderers Show next season. Up the Wick.
Up the Wick.